Hi, welcome back, Firsties. It's me, Mrs. Elkins. I have another new book to read with you today. It's called Pete the Cat Falling for Autumn. Let's go ahead and dive in. Pete the Cat Falling for Autumn. It is the first day of fall, and Pete the Cat is feeling blue. I like summer better, he says. In summer, I can swim and surf and play at the beach. Maybe you just need to remind yourself of all the things you love about autumn, Mom suggests. Pete says. I'll try. I love that about Pete. He's always a leader willing to try new things. Pete finds Grandma in the kitchen. She's baking delicious pumpkin pies. The whole house smells sweet and spicy. Pete loves helping Grandma bake pumpkin pie, but he loves helping eat it even more. After the baking is done, Pete picks a squat orange pumpkin from the counter and slips it into his backpack as a souvenir. I like that about autumn too. I love to have pumpkin pie and pumpkin treats. Do you? Next, Pete heads to the town corn maze. Pete and his friends wander through the long, twisty paths made of tall corn stalks. The best part of the corn maze is getting lost and having to start all over again. As he leaves, Pete plucks a golden corn cob from the maze and places it inside his backpack. Yum, I love corn. Corn's so delicious in the autumn. Then Pete visits Grandpa, who is knitting on the porch. Grandpa helps Pete use the knitting needles to knit the yarn into cool patterns. Together, Pete and Grandpa make a long, cozy scarf for Pete to wear. When they're done, Pete chooses a little ball of leftover yarn and places it inside his backpack. Don't you love wearing fall clothes when it gets a little cold and chilly outside? So much fun, right? Next, Pete goes to the hayride at the park. Pete, Bob, Mom, Dad, and Grandpa all pile into the wagon filled with hay. They go on a bumpy wagon ride around the park. Woohoo! Pete shouts. At the end of the ride, Pete grabs a handful of sweet-smelling hay from the wagon and stuffs it into his backpack. He's getting a souvenir of all the great things of fall. Isn't that fun to do on an autumn day, go on a hayride? Pete heads over to the apple orchard, where he and Kelly go apple picking. They eat sweet apple donuts and drink hot apple cider and fill their buckets with apples of all different shapes and sizes. Before he leaves, Pete chooses a round red apple and drops it into his backpack. Apple picking is fun in the fall, I bet. I've never done it, but I've always wanted to. Have you ever done it? Next, Pete stops by the park. He plays touch football with Bob and their friends. Pete scores a touchdown, and everyone cheers. After the game, Pete grabs Bob's football and stuffs it into his backpack. It barely fits. Bob won't mind if I borrow this, Pete says. That's one of my favorite things about autumn, is the sport football. Do you like to watch football also? Finally, Pete heads back home, but he stops in his front yard, which is covered in bright leaves falling from the trees. Pete helps his dad rake the leaves into big, colorful mounds. Then Pete runs and jumps into all the leaf piles. After he's done jumping, Pete finds a bunch of red and gold and orange leaves and stuffs them into his backpack. Good idea, Pete. I love fall leaves. Don't you think they're beautiful too? Pete's backpack is bursting with fall souvenirs. He can't wait to show Mom. I love autumn, Pete says. Wonderful, says Mom. You know, these would make great decorations for Thanksgiving. So Pete helps Mom fill a basket with all his mementos. They place the basket at the center of the table. You did such a great job, Pete, says Mom. It's beautiful, says Dad. Is that my football? Asked Bob. Just then, the doorbell rings. The Thanksgiving guests are here. All of Pete's family and friends gather around the dining room table. They tell stories and laugh at jokes while they eat. Everyone is having a great time. Pete looks around the table and smiles. He loves lots of things about autumn, but Pete knows what he loves most all year long. What do you think he is most thankful for that he loves the most in this picture? Yeah, his family and friends. Being together at Thanksgiving is always fun because you get to see your family and friends. We are going to go ahead and respond in a read and respond notebook. Go ahead and get yours out. It should look kind of like this, any color, as long as it has the metal binding. And open it to your next open page. I like to keep a sticky note in mind to make it easier to find. Hopefully you're being a leader in keeping one in yours also. Yesterday, we were writing about why you should not give your dog a donut. So your sticky note should be right there. Let's go to the next open page. On this page, we are going to write about your favorite part of autumn, which is also called fall, right? So we're going to start with a capital letter for the word my. Capital M, my, and then you leave a space. Favorite, favor, or it, FAVORITE. My favorite part, PART, and then a space, of. And then look, I can't fit. I'm going to go down here. Autumn. AUTUMN. My favorite part of autumn is, and then you have to tell me what you like. Pete found a lot of great things about autumn. Which one of those are your favorite? Or do you have another part of autumn that you love the most? You'll finish the sentence and draw the picture. Go ahead and pause the video while you copy the sentence now. I'll wait. Are you starting to get an idea or a guess of what it might be that's my favorite part? I can't wait to see what your favorite part of autumn is. Make sure you finish your sentence, draw your picture, and color it in. Bye, firsties.